Welcome, listeners, to session 0 of Let's Be Powered Rangers. That's probably copyright infringement right there. Titled, I forgot the title. Eric?
Setting up roots.
I thought for a moment you forgot the title Dungeons Pop. And I'm like...
No. It's also part of Dungeons and Pops. Or Pop. I keep on saying Pops, but it's Pop.
I think it's also just Dungeon Pop. I don't... Did we put the plural?
Beats
I
me.
think we put the...
This is bad. We forgot the name of our own podcast.
We definitely put Dungeons and Pop, because that was what it was in the original.
That's right.
intro.
Yeah, because, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And then pop for pop culture. So one's singular, one's...
I will say this. People who are involved with Wizards and Liches, I have populated a lot of your stuff into these notes.
My character only has 9 HP, guys. I'm just realizing this.
You're a dropper.
Oh, then...
It's helpful that I have an AC of 17, but I only have 9 HP at level 1. I'm gonna die.
Don't worry. I'm gonna be right there with you.
Well, actually, we probably shouldn't unless this was totally unbalanced. Throw everyone up against a mind flayer right now.
So you're saying I need to drop it from 19 putties to only 18?
Yes.
Sounds about right. I have 11 HP.
And then we all crit.
I want to find a stat block just so it's ready for when you guys come across it. Alright.
Need a last name from Marcus. But yeah, I've been waiting this entire time, so I don't have I have my character ready, I don't have a character sheet ready.
Oh, I put everything on my sheet, and I figured if we were... Since we did our little crosshatch grid thing to determine our stats, I figured I may as well throw those in.
Well, remember the stats...
And then toss in all my...
Well, remember, the stats don't, as part of the class you guys are out playing, the stats don't come into play until you Henshin.
Right. And we're using the commoner stat, but that's in the book.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could make 2 sheets for Thebesi,
well,
but that just seems a little excessive when I can just open my book and go to the commoner stat. Like, I swear I'm not going to look at any other monster stats.
Well, here's the thing, too. For the Power Mask Henshin, our stats stay the same. It's just we don't get any bonuses or anything. They changed that from playtest 1 to playtest 2. In playtest 1, it was all 10s, like the commoner in D&D. But if you look at playtest 2, they changed that.
Okay, so I just don't get the Okay, yeah.
Double check that, but I mean, we still get our numbers, but there are a few things that we don't get to show that we're not at basically our full potential.
Like our Zord in the recaster.
Well, I meant stat-wise. Until we transform with the recaster, we don't...
I feel bad looking at now that I look at it, there was a whole section about building your universe that I could have used earlier on.
Live and learn. The DMG has a whole section on building your universe, and I never even noticed that until I went looking for the information on spell points versus spell slots, and I'm like, I could have been using this for demise, but I haven't, and I'm still not.
Alright, let's see, where is it? Yeah, because I'm just double checking that on that. What you guys mentioned. I will say this, and this may pop up later if we get more people involved. Is that I may try? I'm actually thinking about making a way to make the Gigazord rules work so that we could have some other type of henshins. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard.
Pink Ranger visitation.
Because, I mean, technically, there's always been those Power Ranger episodes where, like, they had different teams, different powers working together to combine to a Zord.
I mean, I know they've done crossover stuff in Super Sentai with, like, the movies and stuff, and even a couple of times combining with Kamen Rider stuff. Tokyuger, the trains, and Drive actually did that. But then again, Tokyuger was powered by imagination, literally. So they had that excuse.
Oh, in the Power Rangers Massive Crisis crossover, they actually combined. They actually had it where SPD actually has a listing of every Zord and which ones are compatible with other generations of Rangers.
Interesting. Was that in the comic? Because I don't remember that episode at all.
That was in the comic. I actually
Okay.
posted it once in chat, I think.
That's why.
You're right. Stats do not change, but you have an AC of 10, and you do not add your proficiency bonus to any attack or saving throw. And all damage you do is reduced by 2.
It'd be very weird for Thebesi to have an AC of 17.
Yeah. I mean, the way they do that, it makes sense because your Henshin suit is your armor and your shield. So it makes sense that you wouldn't have that unless you were transformed. And you're still you know.
I'm still super strong because I have a longsword. I should be strong. I can also bite guys.
I mean, you were chosen to become a Henshin for a reason. So yeah, having better stats than a straight commoner makes sense too.
They wouldn't go pig noodle armed Greg over there.
Exactly.
Unless noodle armed Greg is hiding something. What are you hiding, Greg?
I will not. You know, I'm going to have to put a Greg in there, and then I'm going to totally.
Noodle armed Greg is the big bad evil guy.
Thanks.
Noodle armed Greg has other potential. He's just upset that he wasn't chosen.
I think I'm almost ready. I'm just trying to. I don't know if we're going to hit combat this session, but I want to have.
Well, duh, it's combat. We hit things. We also kick things, and we also go, Sakya!
You're going to dice jail for that.
I'm going to have to turn you up. Now you're too quiet.
Oh, sorry about that.
No. When we were playing Corpulence last, I turned you way, way down because everybody talking and you were just super loud for some reason. And I had forgotten that. So you were super quiet.
That is weird. I think it's because I'm against my sick too right now. Okay, where is it? Come on, stat block.
I saw on Facebook someone made a D4 look like a caltrope, and I'm like, that's dangerous. Why are you doing this?
They're bad enough already.
Yeah, this time they made it actually look like a caltrope, though. I kind of want one.
Okay, does anyone know what page the putties are on?
They're muddies, and they're
that's it. That's why the searches are fine. Okay, muddy.
Yeah, they changed the names. They were putties in the playtest 1, but they changed them to muddies in playtest 2.
Okay.
Rip.
Also, did you see one of the evil alignment gods in the book?
I have not yet.
I've read that book more than you. Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just, I've been sick.
Well, no, I mean, as soon as I got playtest 2, I read that thing just about cover to cover.
So you're saying you should be the TM for this?
Trade spots, go!
Well, I mean, if you want to wait another week or two while I figure out a plan, sure.
No, I can do this.
Dude, I know you can.
We believe in you.
Believe in the us that believes in you. Row, row, fight the power.
I guess the question is, how do you guys start your day? It will be the first question.
Sid, do you want to go?
Well, seeing as Thebesi's in the process of completing her education and training to take over the clan, she probably starts her day off starting on some of the responsibilities that have already been passed down to her, which I think are things like managing the stock of their food and their water supply and making sure that those are refilled and stay filled, and then handling things like minor squabbles between people in their clan.
So, best way I can picture it is like what Stoic does from How to Train Your Dragons.
Yes, but she hasn't fully taken over, so some of the more major things like, War Room Council, which probably isn't used a whole lot right now unless they're in an active fight between another clan. But the major things aren't her responsibility yet. but in the next 2 years, she'll have completed her transition into taking over the clan.
Mm-hmm.
The way I picture it is it's less of an abrupt change from, hey, I'm the clan leader and tomorrow you're the clan leader, to a descending and ascending clan leader. So she's
Makes
ascending
sense.
to clan leader, so over time she's taking on more responsibilities, and the descending clan leaders being relieved of those responsibilities, so that there's not a point where she's just suddenly handed everything and being told, figure it out.
Yeah,
And that
they're
way,
not jerks like that.
Yeah, and that way, if something were to happen to the descending clan leader, it wouldn't just be suddenly a, hey, I guess you're clan leader today now. Here you go.
Yeah, have fun with that.
But she'll have been being trained and groomed to take it over, and she'll have already learned to juggle some of the responsibilities so that it's less pressure on her.
Okay.
The smart way of doing things.
Yeah, exactly.
And Marcus?
All right, well, Marcus isn't, he is not in any kind of worry like that. The most he has to worry idiots at the museum. His day includes waking up, showering, making breakfast, making coffee because coffee, and getting to his job, where he's, he was a security guard at the museum, you said?
Yep, he is a security guard at the Elysium Odium.
Elysium
Odium. It was a grand timber and brick theater before the Henshin Wars, which seems to be bigger on the inside than the outside. And the head of the museum is Bryce. He is a tall but heavy-set male gnoll with red hair and blue eyes. I would say he's a nice person, but he speaks very confident on the few subjects that he talks about. And he seems pretty educated for a gnoll. But at the end of the day, he has claimed to be unscrupulous, but at the end of the day, he will do what he thinks is right. I kind of feel like he may have taken Marcus on as like his apprentice in a way. Not to rehash things, but I kind of see like it's kind of like with Rackham, how Rackham took on Aaron, but maybe Bryce is a little bit more reserved and distant, but not too distant.
Yeah.
But not distant.
He's older. He's more tired. Plus, I mean, I'm sure that there's some kind of maybe bad feelings because Noel and human.
Oh yeah, Bryce is he very much tries to put on the airs of not just another gnoll. In fact, he is the only gnoll that you know of who wears glasses.
Nice.
Rectangular glasses with silver brims.
Oh, cool.
And he has a goatee.
if I as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, since Marcus's background is soldier, what if Bryce, who if I'm thinking of the art that you decided to take and make Bryce, he seems like a soldier from his youth as well. So I'm thinking maybe he sees a lot of a lot of himself, or how he used to be in Marcus, and that's kind of what made him take Marcus under his wing, offer him the job at the museum when he found out that Marcus was just finishing his military duty. He had been, let go, discharged, however you want to put it, honorably, of course. His tour of duty was done. He didn't re-up, so now he's kind of, on his own.
Fits perfectly well. I think it fits Bryce, and it does fit Marcus, and it fits the scenario that we're going to be going into.
Okay, yeah. And I did roll on the things in the background, the tables that the background has.
Okay.
And for his personality trait, I'm haunted by memories of war. I can't get the images of violence out of my mind. And then for Bond, it was never forget the crushing defeat my company suffered or who dealt it.
Ooh.
So Marcus has seen combat. What that was, we're probably going to have to talk about.
I'm thinking that maybe this crushing defeat is part of why Bryce is no longer a Henshin.
Really?
He can transform, but I think that this is part of why he has taken Marcus under his wing, is that he feels that he was not there. I also wanted to go with have you seen Kamen Rider Amazons?
No.
Okay, so for context, in the Kamen Rider Amazons, there was a team called the Pest Control, which were a bunch of normal soldiers that were working with the two good guy Amazons.
The two Amazons. Right.
Yeah. So I actually think that Marcus's old troop was actually the ones that worked with the No Riders.
Oh. So he's basically the G3 support squad to G3, and what was was that in Blade? No.
I think it was Agato, because I think it had to be Agato, because GC showed up in another Agato arc of Kamen Rider Zio.
Okay. Sid, have we confused you?
Yeah, I'm good though. I'll just go read Power Rangers wiki.
Okay, well, here's the thing. G3 is the code name of the secondary Kamen Rider in the show, Kamen Rider Agito. G3 is completely technological. They have to put his suit on like a suit of armor, instead of just, magically or, henshining like the hero.
Right, okay.
Of course, G3 has his support squad with the local police.
Ah. Okay,
So
I'm a little less confused now.
Yeah, so what we're saying is that Marcus, his little band of soldiers, his company of soldiers, was part of that, regular human support squad to, our version of whatever G3 was, who himself was fighting with Bryce and the other Knoll Rangers.
Okay.
Basically, Hawkeye to the rest of the Avengers is another way to put it.
Ouch.
Okay, but Hawkeye's amazing. Don't forget that, like, Hawkeye's able to keep up with all these people who are, like, superpower enhanced, and he's just got his bow and arrow, and the resistance strength on his bow is, like, I think something like 4 times the amount that, like, a normal person would be able to pull. Like, he's somewhere close to the superpower strength ability, and his quality of aim is on point. Just saying.
No. Completely understandable, but then, you have the Hulk and Iron Man.
And Thor.
Yeah, exactly. So we have, it's a tier thing. We're not shit talking Hawkeye.
No, I know. I'm just saying, because, like, just Hawkeye's great. Okay?
Okay, see, and now we've technically done the original Session 0 stuff we were going to do, technically.
Yay.
I mean, I think we got a lot of that done in the actual session. I think session -1, just by talking about our characters. We were just waiting on the actual content to come out so we could play.
Okay, now it's time for me to welcome you to Azamar Grove, a thriving community of the strange and the weird, originally formed by a tribe of celestial rays after a portal to the void had opened, releasing a number of evil creatures and monsters. The rays had managed to, with the help of some immigrants from sister continent of Corpulence, who has had experience with dealing with strange portals and strange shit, to confine the portal of the void in a singular ancient menhir of ruin-carved stone, which glows with magical light on the night of the solstice. This spire is also known as the Spike of No Dice by those who wish to mock these evil forces. And it is located in the center of Bell Village in the middle of Azamar Grove. Okay, so I think the best way to start out with on this is, I think the easiest way for your characters to meet might be in the market.
I'm thinking lunch break for Marcus.
Yeah, that works.
Thebesi's probably headed into town to get stuff for the clan. Like, I imagine, like, you know, they're mostly self-sustained, but there's probably a couple things that they go into town to get, like...
More perishable things, like they always
Yeah.
like re-up on the fresh fruit, maybe some fresh meat because
Yeah.
they're camped out right now, so they don't have to worry about dried rations.
Exactly. But the stuff like peanut butter, they've got a ton of. Because
Yeah.
it's peanut butter, and who doesn't want a lot of peanut butter?
That's probably what I'm going to end up making. Peanut butter toast.
My breakfast was almost a banana and peanut butter.
Hey, that's good. I wish I had some banana to go on peanut butter toast. One of my favorite breakfasts. Which is now Marcus's trademark favorite food, because why the hell not?
Peanut butter toast?
No, peanut butter toast with sliced banana on top.
Ah.
You know, the corpulents brought it to them. They're the ones who first figured out peanut butter. That is now canon.
Works for me.
Myron, I need a way of getting protein without eating animals.
You know, that could actually, I mean, such things have happened. It's like, this can't happen. How do I do? It's like, oh, hey, this could work. Have a whole line of peanut butter-based snacks called Myron's Munchies.
That's canon now. Could that be canon?
All right, that is canon. Myron's Munchies.
What can I say but you're welcome?
Okay, all right. Looking at this, at my map and what was generated, actually, you know what? I'm going to move this to the market. You'd probably both be, it would be meeting at the Bloody Fang, a shabby commoner's inn built within the remains of an ancient tower of ruined carved stone. It is ruined.
All right. Quick question. You said that it was an inn, but
Yes.
Bryce is on his lunch break, so why would he be going to an inn?
Oh, I mean, I meant to say it's a tavern and an inn.
Okay, one of those things.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I don't think that my clan is so far out that I've got to like stay in an inn or anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
right now.
Not trying to be difficult.
Oh no, it's just when I built the map, it's the one location that actually has food. It gave me a lot of noticeable places that are all. I'll admit they are almost all like quest triggers.
Works for me. Nothing like quote unquote.
An entire village of quest triggers.
Well, you gotta admit, it basically started out as this is literally a town that started out as an evil army's foothold. So a lot of the places around here are just messed up.
It's the black market.
Now, they're a reputable place. They're the really dark gray market. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I will say that the runner of the inn / tavern is Haley, a rugged feral. And for our listeners who haven't seen the list, a feral basically means that they're squirrel folk. And she has thin copper hair with large blue eyes. As she's taking orders and bringing out food, she's wearing modest garments and riding boots. She doesn't look like she's slept in a while, but I would say that's something that you guys know, or those that have been in town would know is kind of typical. She doesn't like to talk about her past.
Aw.
So that's something Marcus would know and would respect. He's got his own issues.
I think you guys are there. I think it's just after the lunch rush, so she kind of walks over to Marcus's table with a notepad. Goes, "Morning, Marcus. How's things at the museum?"
Kind of quiet as usual. Bryce is Bryce. Had to chase off a couple of troublemaking teenagers, trying to see if they could steal something from one of the displays.
Man, what is it with all these teenagers with attitudes? They always come into town thinking they can make something of themselves.
Well, I mean, you have an entire building dedicated to that. So, I guess it makes a weird kind of sense.
That's very true. I would say. I would say she kind of has like a facial expression like she wants to bring up something, but she's kind of unsure.
You doing okay? You look more tired than usual. You not get enough sleep last night?
Been hearing noises at night lately. Not the usual ones either. A lot of new people in town, and I would say she actually kind of just glances in the direction of a table and Thebesi, you see this squirrel folk kind of giving you a suspicious look.
You get the side eye from Squirrel Girl.
Oh wow. Thebesi kind of stares back, but she continues minding her own business. I feel like she's probably used to getting odd looks at this point.
Okay. And then I think Haley looks back and she says, "But a lot of people were. I mean, not to be. I know how I look. I know the looks
You
everyone
look
kind of gives me.
fine. You look fine, Haley. You're adorable.
Aw.
I think Haley actually blushes a little. I'm like, Marcus. Only we weren't married to our jobs." I think she
At that, Marcus blushes. And he rubs the back of his neck. So, weird noises, you say?
Yeah,
Smooth.
there's been
Real smooth.
a lot of people. I actually woke up last night and there was someone walking around in a cloak. I don't know if it
Bit
means
odd.
anything.
Well, it
But
means someone has weird fashion sense. It's a little warm for cloaks even at night.
well, this is gonna sound strange. She kind of reaches back and rubs back her head and goes, "They kind of sounded like they were grinding stone when they were moving. If that, it was like
Two
it was like
stones grinding against each other as they
yeah,
walked, is what you're saying?
yeah. You ever hear anything like that?
Is Thebesi close enough to be able to eavesdrop?
Yes, I would say definitely close enough to eavesdrop.
Okay, she's totally eavesdropping.
Ooh. Will this be the first roll of the session?
It will. Roll me a history check.
What's my
Ooh,
history?
Do you want me to do that as well?
Yes.
That's not a D20. There we go.
Okay. What are my proficiencies? Athletics and intimidate. Oh, wait, no.
Well, this dice is not going to be the dice for Thebesi. I got an 8 total.
Skills.
Let's try this
Really?
dice.
Thebesi, I would say it sounds familiar.
But not too familiar.
Yes, not too familiar. And the theme song goes.
Damn it, I got an 8 as well. What's history? Is that intelligence?
Yes.
Okay, that's a 10 then.
I would say this sounds more familiar to Marcus in
Barely.
that it's not good. You can't remember what exactly, but it kind of. I almost want to say you kind of have like a war flashback, but it's so brief you're not sure what you just remembered, but you remember hearing a sound just like that and just feeling.
She could probably see the cloud pass over his face as he thinks about it, and he kind of shakes it off, rubbing the side of his head. It's like, I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, if it's not too creepy sounding. Cammy, settle down. If it's not too,
it's a doggo.
If it's not too creepy sounding, Haley, I could come by, later this evening at night or whatever, around the time you heard these sounds, and I don't know, check the perimeter for you to make sure there's nobody trying to do anything untowards your establishment or your home.
I think Haley kind of thinks on it and goes, I would appreciate it, Marcus. I don't have the best of instincts for this kind of situation, and we don't. It would make me feel better if someone looked into it that isn't gonna make a mistake.
Marcus kind of has a unsure look at that, but he nods and.
I would say. Actually, you know what? I want to say, if you want, you can roll a history check on that as well.
Okay. Don't fail me now. What are you?
I will say
plus 2, so 17.
Okay. And I say to and then Sid, if you want to do a history check for Thebesi, I would say it would be at disadvantage because Thebesi hasn't lived in the city.
Okay. I rolled 2 13s in a row, so that's 16 total.
That's not bad.
All right. I would say that Marcus, when you think about it, there's been times when you've come here and visited with Haley, and she has gotten kind of when she was off duty and she's been drinking, and she's just mentioned that she would mention that she spent some time behind bars before coming to Azamar Grove. That something happened. So she thought someone was breaking into her house, and she defended herself, and then it turned out it was she's killed someone by accident in self-defense, and it's something that it's literally it's part of the reason why she looks the way she is, because she has been haunted by that memory.
Oh no.
And I would say that Thebesi, you haven't heard quite all that detail, but you do know that she is you've been in here enough that you've seen that she is very hesitant to defend herself, just because, and you get the sense that she feels guilty about something.
Okay.
In fact, I want to say at least once you've had to step in when visiting in town, which also makes Haley's side eye even more kind of being an asshole.
She stood up for me in the past, but I'm still not sure about
it. Okay. Anything else you guys want to say or do?
Well, after assuring Haley that he would come by to double check at the night, he would probably order something quick for lunch and probably just sit back and ruminate on the memory that flashed over his mind as they were talking about, trying to, he wants to recall because it feels like it's important, but he also doesn't because he doesn't like the uneasy feeling it gave him.
I think as you sit and you think on it, roll. Actually, you know what? Let's make it a survival check. That makes more sense this time. I think.
Survival check.
Or no, nature check. Nature check. No.
For this,
Actually, you know what? I think it would actually be an Arcana check.
Okay, that's wisdom, yeah?
No, that's intelligence. Arcana is intelligence.
Arcana is intelligence.
Perception's wisdom.
Good. I have a +2 to intelligence. All right, F off, you little bastard. I rolled a 2, so that's a 4.
Dice jail.
No kidding. Behave yourself.
I mean,
I think you try, but it just more flashbacks that you don't want to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even it may you almost think it has more you think on it, you just think it just makes you think back on the incident, and it just starts to hurt to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's going to do his best to not think about it then.
Valid.
Thebesi, are you going to do anything?
What are our means of communication?
Yeah, what I know we kind of talked about what kind of world this is, but what kind of,
what kind of
tech
communication?
level?
Yeah, and would Thebesi's clan have access to this?
I am going to say we are going to incorporate the system from Corpulence.
Okay.
There are fantasy cell phones, but I will say Thebesi's clan only has two on their plan. One
Okay.
for if anyone leaves the village, and one for the village itself.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
So Thebesi kind of because I feel like if she's going into town, she's going to bring a means of communicating in case of emergency with her.
Okay.
She's going to contact back to her clan and tell them that she's staying in town over the night. And other than that, she's just going to kind of, for the time being, loiter around the establishment to bid out her time until nightfall.
Okay. So she's staying within the bloody thing. She's not gonna look around the village or anything.
She's going to stay close enough that she'll be able to get back come sunset, but she's going to walk around the town or like the market area so as to not seem suspicious. Because I feel like if she seeing as she's a relatively, the Wanari are pretty large. Yeah, they're like 6 to 7 feet tall. So seeing as she's a relatively large person, and she's probably in her kind of clan gear, it would seem weird of her to like just loiter around in the tavern. And she'd probably draw some unwelcome attention. So she's I feel like she's kind of walking around the market, finishing off any of the shopping she needed to do, and then just kind of bidding out her time until sunset or evening.
Okay, I just thought of something. Roll me a perception check.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
Where'd my perception go? Oh, okay. Yeah. 6. My dice are not rolling well today.
They're not awake yet.
Okay.
Well, it's noon. They should wake up. I need them.
I would say you do, as you walk around. All right, I know the easiest. All right, I know what I'm going to do with that 6. There is a strange, sinister-looking shaft in the ground in the middle of the marketplace, surrounded by a jagged wall of iron.
Oh.
Is this something she's seen before? Or is this new?
I think it's something she's seen before, but it's something where now that she's staying in the area, this is the first time she actually notices people actually kind of seem to avoid it.
Okay.
And yeah, and I think as you're sitting around, you start to hear a lot of people talk. There's a lot of people mumbling about it. I would say perception would be if you're just listening in too, wouldn't it?
Yes. Can I do an insight check to see? I'm wanting to. I feel like Thebesi would want to know if this is something like there's 2 types of mumbling that could be going on. They could be mumbling about it in like a, hey, make sure you don't go near it, or like, hey, this is new information. But it's like, do they generally seem afraid of it, or do they avoid it be in like a sense of reverence?
I'll definitely be an insight check. I'll give it an insight check.
Because like, especially like with me and my line of work, I see people avoid walking on when we have a memorial outside a battalion and no one steps on it because it's seen as disrespectful. 17. These are very balanced.
I would say you notice that the younger generation seems to be there's a lot, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of rays, there's gnolls. Both gnolls of both type of gnolls. You have the gnolls with a G, and then the gnolls without a G.
Or an L.
Or an L.
There's gnolls, and then there's nose.
Gnolls and nose.
There's also probably gnomes.
There are gnomes. There are gnomes as well, and there's a character who will have an interest.
Gnolls and gnomes and nodes. Oh my!
I would say like the most elderly of the people talking about it seem to be like shooing off the younger generation, or like saying like someone was saying like, "Oh, I saw a squirrel crawl in there and came back out a zombie." That's a well. Why are you even talking about going to a well of evil? We call it a well of evil for a reason. And you're like, it's not the well of evil. Damn you, yippersnappers! Why are you so disrespectful to your past?
So it sounds like there's a lot of wives' tales made up about this.
There are. I will say, the other thing is, does Thebesi ever get close to it? Because if I remember, Winari are technically wolves. So I might, if you do go close to it, I would say perception check.
Okay. She's gonna go close, but she's gonna wait until a moment where it seems like there's less people paying attention to her. Because again, she's not trying to draw a whole lot of attention to herself.
I would say roll me a perception check.
I'm doing a lot of perception and insight. 14?
You hear the echoing sounds of bones moving, clacking together from deep within the well. It's very faint, but it's definitely the sound of bones.
You gotta remember not to make her impulsive. My impulse is to go in there, but I don't think Thebesi's an impulsive person. I think she thinks about her actions and formulates some kind of plan first.
And I would say with that roll,
see, the fun thing is that
yeah.
I was gonna say the fun thing is that you, as the player, know the story because you're the player. You know how this sort of story goes.
Yeah.
But is that
Thebesi is very different from some of the other characters I've played. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want her to be an impulsive person. Like where Myron would be like, "Oh, weird sound, cool, I'm going right in." Thebesi, right. I think since Thebesi was listening in on the conversation, she would know that Marcus was kind of volunteered himself to take a look at this sound and investigate the sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, did she get a good enough look at him to be able to find him?
Yeah, I would say Marcus is a human. He's not like another gnome.
Yeah.
Well,
this is also Aaron we're dealing with.
Yeah, you're also doing this during the day. He'd be working at the beach.
Yeah, so she's going to find him.
All right. And then Marcus, what did you do after you left the inn?
Well, after he had lunch, he went back to his job, which, being a security guard, is either standing around watching a bunch of Magitech screens or walking around the joint. He's probably walking around the joint, making sure people are, not trying to steal stuff from the displays or defacing property or whatever, while Bryce is the one watching the security cameras.
Eric, I just want to let you know you just fit in my mind that Marcus is basically fantasy Mike from FNAF.
God damn it! I had a feeling.
Does he have a scar on his head from war?
I mean, it's entirely possible.
I will say that there probably is a Magitech screen though, but the way I kind of picture it, it's basically a fantasy tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So you could technically actively do both.
Oh, neat.
And I will say this: I'm going to give you a chance to help craft some of this. What are some of the, as you're going through the displays, what are some of the teams that we see? If this was a TV show.
Oh gosh, let's see. Well, I would imagine there would be the Berserker Task Force Null Ranger, fairly prominent. I do like the idea of there being a animal-based team, perhaps known as the Wild Force. There should totally be a Dragenger team that was themed after dragons. Plus, I'm sure there's also going to be villain displays.
Yep.
First and foremost would be probably the evil deity Lasers and Liches itself. What did they call him? Zyd. ZYD. Whose symbol is a chrome Z.
Nice.
And I'm going to read you the description from the Lasers and Liches playtest volume number 2 itself. Zyd is a humanoid whose flesh has been removed and their bones, protruding bones, coated in chrome. Their constant agony has brought them to a state of madness from which they can never escape. They want nothing less than the destruction of all planes of reality and will bestow power upon any who would help his cause. He is fond of large monstrosities, reveling in the pain and destruction they cause. Seeing others suffer causes him to forget his own pain, even if just for a moment. Followers of Zyd are sadistic and cruel, torturing living beings before killing them and bathing in their blood.
They sound fantastic. Nice. They sound like the Dark Eldar from 40K.
And his catchphrase is, "You'll pay for this."
Nice.
I mean, let's face this. This is the serial numbers filed out version of Zed from Power Rangers. I mean, the Chrome Z kind of gave it away, and if that didn't, the fact that he's a flayed being covered in chrome.
Beautiful.
I will say I'm going to add one team in there just because this is actually a cool Japanese-only thing that I just realized we could throw in there.
Go for it. I was kind of scrambling.
There is a female Meowser rogue-themed Henshin team known as Meownger.
Nice. Should there also be some kind of elemental team, since this is something that
Oh yes, so you can throw some names in there, some concepts in there too.
I'm horrible at names, so I'm just gonna throw the concept of I kind of think that especially since we discussed what recasters we're gonna be getting and stuff, and since Thebesi's is more elemental based, there should probably be a history of some kind of elemental based team.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I think there should be the Planet Savers, as they were known as. They were
tree huggers.
They were a team of 5, of course, and they had the elemental powers of wind, earth, fire, water, and heart.
Nice. I'm glad you came up with a name, because otherwise I would have just gone on Fantasy Name Generator and clicked through until I found something and I'm like, I like that.
Their Zord was red, green, yellow, blue, and did I say red already?
You did.
Yes, you did.
Red was the first color you said.
Red formed the chest, blue formed the upper arms, green formed kind of a helmet.
So
and
basically,
it's funny because there's a Chinese, I believe it's Chinese, could be Korean, team of giant mecha known as the Planet Savers. So it's kind of doing dual duty here.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm that much of a nerd.
No, it's okay. If this was anything else, I'd be able to talk your ear off of it. My experience with Power Rangers in general comes from the Power Rangers Dino Thunder, Nintendo Cube, or
GameCube?
Yeah, GameCube. Thank you. My mind just blanked on me. The GameCube game, and then what I watched growing up and playing Power Rangers with my brother.
Didn't we all?
We played, yeah, I was never allowed to be the Red Ranger because
you're a girl.
Yeah, I had to be pink or yellow, so now I'm super happy I'm the Blue Ranger.
Yeah, seriously.
I think Bryce is kind of doing patrols the opposite way and just kind of gives a light nod to Marcus as he passes. And I will put it out there that Bryce uses his henshin axe as a cane.
Good
like for him.
I like that.
But yeah, he kind of gives you a light nod as he's doing his own patrols. And I think he kind of stops for a moment and looks at. He actually stops for a moment and looks at a display of something that you might recognize.
Ooh, do I? Do I need to make a history check?
Actually, no. I think this one is hard not to recognize because this is something Marcus has seen Bryce do every time he does a patrol. He always stops,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a display of the final battle before they were able to close Azamar Grove and be able to thrive into the city it is now. It is hard. I'll leave it up to you, but I think it's kind of hard for Marcus to stay by this one, but for long because it's the final stand where it is. In fact, it is it's something like Marcus is probably in this display. I would say that much.
Oh.
His comrades around him fallen.
Oh.
And it's just.
You mean Marcus is actually in this setup that you're looking at, not Bryce, but yeah. Bryce too?
No, Bryce is in it. It's kind of like. It's the reason why Bryce is looking at it. It's literally a memorial to the moment that Bryce has been beating himself up for, because it's Bryce bloodied in armor heading to help his comrades as people probably wouldn't recognize it as Marcus in the display because the helmet and everything, but it's literally because the squad had been overrun by muddies while everyone else was dealing with the big monsters. It was a final push so that even if they won, they lost. It was literally petty revenge by Zed's right-hand man, a human cleric of Death Domain, known by the name Bonemeister. And it's kind of like something that Marcus has actually had to pull Bryce away from, because it's kind of the last stand of the soldier troop that Marcus had been a part of. And it looks, so someone who wasn't there, it looks heroic because it looks like a red Null Ranger coming to the rescue, but it was literally him coming to lessen the slaughter. And Marcus is even on there, valiantly fighting when his comrades were down. It's what I figured it was an exhibit.
For what good it was worth.
Exactly. It's one that they both it's something that kind of triggers both of them, but it's also very popular. It helps bring in the ticket sales, so they can't take it down.
It's bittersweet.
But yeah, Bryce is staring at Marcus. What do you do?
He's going to come at Bryce from the side, so he doesn't trigger him from quote unquote sneaking up on him. And hey, old man, you okay?
Me, just touched.
Didn't think so. Come on.
All right. You'd think they'd find something better. I think he starts to follow Marcus.
Well, what are you going to do? We're 2 security guards, and it brings in the sales for the museum. They're not going to take it down.
Yeah, almost makes me wish there was something to fight. Just so, and I'm old. Don't got missing a shin, and I think he actually kind of holds the leg forward and taps it with his handle end of his axe, and he gets like a metal, like that artificial lower leg. Import from Corpulence, care of Brashco.
Looks good.
How you been doing, my boy? He pats you, and he pats. Haven't been kind of quiet lately,
Haley's been hearing some weird stuff at night.
Haley?
Yeah, the Tavern and Inn lady. Where I go for lunch. She makes those really great burgers you love.
Oh yeah, the ones. What do they call it? The pastrami burgers. With sauerkraut. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fries on there. She's been hearing some weird things at night, and it just sounded really familiar. But I haven't been able to place it, and it's been bugging me ever since.
What did she say she found?
Well, not so much found, but heard. And saw somebody in a cloak, and it sounded like rocks grinding against each other as they moved. He makes fists, and he grinds his knuckles against each other, kind of mimicking limbs grinding against each other.
You see Bryce stiffen up, and his gaze turns over to one of the exhibits.
He follows the gaze.
It's a model of a muddy.
Oh no, no, you can't be. No.